Alright people, Mike Salden here again. Welcome back to some more Baldur's Gate 3. So I finished all the stuff with the Githyanki crash. Ken had to wipe out everybody in there. They really turned on me, pretty much betrayed me immediately. Lizelle, I think I've got enough approval with her that she's sort of on my side. And that she's siding with me, even though she keeps talking about her queen and thinking that this is all some sort of test. I think we're going to be able to bring her around to be on our side. But anyway, when I went back to camp after doing all the Githyanki crash stuff, this leader of the Githyanki that we met before at the bridge with the dragon, he showed up in our camp and he was trying to get us to go along with this conspiracy plan to take down the queen. Lizelle wasn't really going along with it, but I kind of convinced her that it would be a good idea to maybe listen to this guy because the queen, she quite clearly tried to kill us all and doesn't have our best intentions at heart whenever she was dealing with us. I don't particularly trust this guy either because, to be honest, all the Githyanki I've met so far, they've all been some different variation of self-serving and difficult to work with, and they don't really like outsiders, and they pretty much see themselves as superior to everyone else. This guy, he kind of acts a bit different, and he does have the right idea of getting rid of the queen, but maybe he's just going to install himself later and be even worse than the current queen. So that I do have that idea in mind. But anyway, after that, I went back into the Shadowlands, started exploring it today. I used the elevator I'd found in the Grimforge to get to this area. It's all cursed and everything, and I remember something about we would need some light to keep back the curse. So I actually equipped most of the characters with a torch, made sure they all had it out, just in case this was protecting us some way from this curse. I don't know if it actually is effective having these torches out, but it made me feel better. And it kind of fits the vibe and atmosphere of this really cursed forest or wherever we are. I found this boar. It has been attacked by the curse. I didn't want to touch it in case it infected me or something. I was lighting all these braziers that I ran into because I just thought having more light around here, it's probably going to help us. Maybe it doesn't do anything, but I don't know, I just felt better lighting all the braziers and stuff. I noticed there were some people down here. I wasn't sure if they were enemies, but I ran up to them and then we got this little cutscene with these people who are exploring. They also have their torches out, so it made me feel better that I was actually in the right to have a torch out. I used Bard persuasion to sort of lessen the tension, and then I kind of just walked out here hoping that these people were going to be on my side. Then suddenly something started coming out of the shadows or whatever. It seemed like this curse was starting to attack us. It grabbed that guy. It seemed like he was done for. And then we just sort of got ready to fight. I didn't know exactly what I was fighting, but I just knew it was something to do with the curse. And I decided I would try to keep these people alive because they might be useful to us. The guy who was cursed, he came back and started attacking us now, so we pretty much had to get rid of him. And Karlach approved of us just getting ready to fight these guys. So all these shadows sort of surrounded us. And I was trying to stay next to this brazier that I'd lit. I'd thrown a fireball at it at some point, I think, and that's why it was lit. Sacred Flame and attacks like that by Shadowheart, they seem to one-shot most of these shadows. So I think it's wise to have a cleric within your party when you're doing this. And if I play the game again anytime soon, I think I probably will be a Tiefling cleric the next time. I kind of want to keep playing as a Tiefling because they just seem like they have a lot to do with the main plot, like the way we help those Tieflings at Emerald Grove, and they seem to be like your first introduction to the world is helping these Tieflings. Well, if you choose to help them. And I don't know, they just seem pretty involved with the main story and stuff, so I think I'd quite like to continue being a Tiefling. Maybe that's unadventurous of me, and I should do something like be a Githyanki to see how that goes. But I kind of think everyone would hate me if I was a Githyanki, except Lizelle. She might be a lot nicer to us, which would be funny. But I don't think Githyanki, if they have any clerics really. So it could be a really unique, interesting position on a replay to be a Githyanki cleric. Um, but yeah, I really enjoy being a Tiefling. They're my favorite race. They just look cool. As soon as I saw them, I wanted to be a Tiefling. So we got through that fight, but as soon as we got through it, the guy who was one of these other guys who was fighting was with us. It seemed like he got touched by the curse or something. Harper Karu, I think. And basically, we just had to take him down after we had a little conversation with the main lady that we were talking to here. He wasn't too hard to take down. He kind of surprised us because he wasn't like he didn't turn right away. We were able to have that conversation. In the middle of it, I think we were just brought out of it to fight this guy. So we kind of interrupted our conversation. But yeah, the those guys they all went off to find. I think it's the last light in or something like that. I accidentally touched this cursed crow over here, and we absolutely got surrounded by like 100 crows. Well, not 100, but you know what I mean. There was loads of them, and I was like, okay, this is a terrible move. Hopefully, if I use Karlach's rage, that'll get us that ability that just wipes out a load of people. And it thankfully did. Karlach really clutched up for us there. That completely wiped out all these crows in like one hit. So thanks, Karlach. Best party member confirmed. Karlach, the MVP yet again. So I walked on for a little while and I found the last light in. And I thought it would be best to just go straight here because the rest of this area seemed really dangerous. And like I was just gonna keep getting into like trouble with these cursed animals and stuff. And I'm pretty sure the boar that I ignored, if I touched it, something bad would happen, like the way those crows all surrounded us. Maybe that would happen with a load of boars instead. So when we came in here, this Jihara, I think her name is, she kind of just trapped us with these magical roots. Um, I tried to lessen the tension with some bard humor, of course. Um, she knew about us being like having the mind flare parasite inserted into us, and she had one captured in this jar or whatever, and it started acting up when she put it near us. So that's how she knew pretty much. I was just trying to talk my way out of this, but then Maul, the Tiefling thief leader or whatever, who we'd helped so much before, she really ran in to defend us here and saying how good we were and how we'd saved the Tieflings back at Emerald Grove. And she really talked down Jihara for us. And I felt really cool that because of my decisions at Emerald Grove, I got this little dialogue scene here. And Maul really helped me talk my way out of it. And it was interesting that we ran into the Tieflings here again, and that they didn't really make it to Baldur's Gate. They only made it to this cursed land area, which is a shame because I was hoping they were all going to get there safely, and I would meet up with them later in like Act 3 or whatever when I get to Baldur's Gate. But yeah, they seem to have been caught up in all this stuff that's going on in the Shadowlands. So Maul and the other Tieflings are here, and Jihara's basically explaining about the Moonrise Towers and how we have to get there. Karlach, she stopped to fangirl over Jihara. Jihara's pretty famous apparently. Karlach thinks she's really cool. Clearly wants her autograph or something. She was really happy to meet her, and she was getting really excited. So that was pretty funny, pretty cute. And of course, I was thinking again because the Teflings are here, maybe uh, the armor or the guy Damon, he would be here because he was obviously traveling with the Teflings at Emerald Grove. So I was thinking maybe we could do something for Karlach. We have Infernal Iron, like three other bits of it that I found from my journeys. So I was running around just talking to everybody, trying to get a sort of grasp of the situation of what's going on at this inn and who everybody is and what we're doing here. And it seemed like there was like loads of people around, and it took a little while to get around everyone. I probably won't leave in the footage for all of them, because some of them just had like one or two lines to say. But it is still cool that you can talk to like every character. But I did eventually find Damon, which was my main goal really, and he had some dialogue for Karlach, and it is unfortunately bad news that he has for us. Because it turns out that Karlach, even if we fix up her engine, to sort of repair it a little, Damon isn't that skilled enough to like make it work permanently, and he basically just says that eventually Karlach's gonna have to go back to Arvernus or the Hells region or that plane of the astral planes or whatever, because her engine's just gonna overheat anyway, and it's gonna blow up, and she is gonna die if she stays here in this like normal world or whatever. It's too cold here. And even though he can repair her engine for a little while, it is just gonna break down again later. So it was kind of a bittersweet scene here where we finally fix her up and give her the infernal iron, and she's able to touch people again because previously she couldn't because she would just burn everybody that she touched. And it's been like 10 years since she was able to touch anyone. And she seems pretty set on just being able to touch people again. And she has no intention of going back to Avernus or whatever you would call it. And there's just gonna be no convincing her, it seems. So I gave her a big hug because she was talking about it would being the thing she wanted most in the world back when we first met her was to hug somebody. So I thought we would do that. And I was thinking about talking her into going back to Avernus just until we found a cure or whatever. But I kind of felt also that Karlach didn't want to hear that kind of talk, and that she's quite clearly made up her mind here, that she's not going back there, and she would rather die having lived a happy, if albeit shorter, life, adventuring with us and helping people for whatever short amount of time she has. Damon says he's going to keep looking for a cure, but there's no guarantee. And honestly, I think I can see the tragedy of this story unfolding already, and that we're probably just going to have to accept that there's not really a cure unless Karlach goes back to Avernus and just stays there, which she absolutely hates the idea of, and she never wants to work for Zariel or whatever her name is, the demon lady that controlled Karlach. Um, so Shadowheart and Asterion and everyone, they all had like some dialogue to say about Karlach and being pleased that she could touch people again. I'd picked up this night orchid flower, which I'd found while wandering around the Shadowland area, and I just gave it to Shadowheart. Pretty funny little bit of dialogue. She pretended that it was poisonous, And she was like, I hope you didn't pick that up by hand. Oh my god. And then I was like, what? And then she said, got ye. And it was quite funny that she tricked us like that. But she was grateful for the flower, and I said I didn't really need anything for it because it was just like a gift or whatever. But she was like, "Tell me, I'll pay you back later with something nice or whatever." And because I was trying to avoid this turning into a romance thing, because again, I'm pretty set on just romancing Karlach, or whatever. But I did want to still be nice to Shadowheart and keep her in the party and get her approval pretty high or whatever. Also, I've given her this really silly hat, and she looks like more of a bard than my actual bard character at this point. I kind of look like a wizard or some sort of warlock or something, and Shadowheart actually looks like a bard. Karlach, she's dressed appropriately. She's pretty much in like barbarian furs, and Aztarian, he's kind of dressed like a stealthy assassin guy. He looks pretty evil and badass in the sort of outfit I've given him. But me and Shadowheart, we look kind of dressed out of place. Shadowheart should probably be dressed like my character, only in darker clothes, and I should be dressed like Shadowheart, looking like a like sort of silly bard with a strange hat. We found this strange ox again that was in the Teflon camp. I passed an animal handling check to be able to investigate it, but it seems I couldn't get any more information out of it. So it's really strange that an ox keeps showing up everywhere. But yeah, maybe it'll be unveiled later what that ox is all about. So we came inside, we found some of the Teflon kids again. Marius or whatever here, he was really impressed to see Karlach. I don't know why they didn't have this like dialogue back in the Emerald Grove. He's acting like he's only seeing Karlach now, but I pretty much brought her everywhere back in Emerald Grove. So it's a bit strange that he's only talking about how cool Karlach is now and how they were in Avernus before and they used to watch her fight and they were just really impressed with her or whatever. So that was a cool little dialogue scene. I'm a bit confused about why it only triggered here. Because it seemed like it should have played back in Emerald Grove. But yeah. So I also came to talk to Maul, but she was like, I'm busy right now, I can't talk to you. And she was standing next to this Raphael devil guy. We've run into him again for the first time since we saw him like 20 hours ago. And also Barkus, the gnome who's looking for his friend, who kept getting captured everywhere he goes. He's in the last light in too. And he's trying to craft some special potion or something for us, because he thinks that'll help us. So we'll see if that goes anywhere, but he's usually getting into trouble and sort of messing things up. So it remains to be seen if that'll help too much. And then went ahead and spoke to Raphael, the devil guy. He's again here to make some deals or whatever. The last light in, it's obviously the last place people have a little bit of hope left in this area. And he seems like he's here to disrupt that. And he seemed to be talking to Maul, or at least she was standing really close by, and that all seemed a bit shady, but I don't know if I'm able to question Maul about that. She didn't really want to talk to me when I clicked on her before, so... also, Aztarian had some dialogue with the devil guy here. He was talking about how he has these scars on his back, some big symbol that his master, the vampire lord or whatever, who transformed him into a vampire, he put these scars on his back, and Aztarian wants the devil guy here, Raphael, to translate what his scars mean, what the symbol displays. I don't know if it's a good idea for him to get involved with Raphael, but Aztarian seems pretty independent and like he's got his mind made up. So Raphael actually like used a spell to get rid of his clothes so that he could show us all his scars. He just sort of vanished his clothes out of thin air, and as Terry was like, "What the hell's going on here?" But then he basically he just explains a little about how he got them and how it was the vampire lord. I can't remember the vampire vampire guy's name who did this, but Astarion has told us about him before, how he's like pretty evil and tortured him and stuff. Um, but yeah, he wants to figure out what those symbols on his back mean. So that could come up later and be important, I guess. We also ran into this lady that we saved at the Burning Inn back in Act 1. She was in a burning building and we ran in there and saved her. She's talking about how we have to find this like mayor of Baldur's Gate or a councillor from Baldur's Gate. Someone important like that anyway. I think it's the guy Will said it's actually his father. So he should probably be here for this dialogue, but again, I barely use Will. I use everybody else, so we might have to talk to him about all this back at camp. We also found this bed with this like really injured guy in it. He's sort of in a trance or a coma or something. And he's just sort of talking to himself and rhyming these random words and talking about this Tamlin guy, I think his name was, or Nathaniel, Thaniel, or something like that. Yeah, he keeps rambling on about that in his sleep, and he doesn't really respond to anybody who talks to him. So this was kind of strange. And I thought it would be important to maybe wake him up or figure a way to get him out of his coma. So we were given a quest here to sort of diagnose him, what's wrong. I selected like medicine and used my medicine skill, which I don't think is that high, but I managed to pass the skill check. And just try to figure out if we can figure out anything that's wrong with this guy. And I think we basically decided that we need to trigger him with something, like something from his past. We picked up a note that Astarion noticed was in his pocket. I think he passed a perception check to be able to get this note. And that just filled us in a bit on the guy's backstory or whatever. And then we realized that, we need to get some sort of item to show to this guy from his past that maybe will break him out of his coma that he's in or whatever. So we went to speak to Jihara again. She wanted to have a little drink with us here. She was acting a bit too friendly for my liking. Just really trying to convince us to have a drink with her. But we used certain dialogue options here. And I figured out, that there was truth serum, I guess you could call it, that she'd placed in this wine that she wanted us to drink. And I detected that it was there. And I basically let her know that I knew that. And she was just like, oh, promise it's not going to hurt you or whatever. It's just a precaution. And she was like, oh, where I was like, oh, it's hurt my trust in you or whatever. But I did drink it anyway, which some of the party disapproved of. I think Astarion definitely disapproved of it. But yeah, got some information out of her about what's going on here. Then we went upstairs to speak to, I think it's Isabel is this character. She's the one casting the magic that keeps the inn safe. She's a cleric and she's been protecting the inn, so we got a blessing off her. But then this first fist guy, he flies in with these big wings. He said he's come from Moonrise Tower and he wants to take Isabel or whatever back there. She needs to speak to Kineric or whatever, this guy in charge at Moonrise Tower. We looked into his mind. We used the power site here to sort of read his mind. And it's very clear that he's trying to kidnap this character. So we realized we can't really trust him. And that we're basically going to have to fight our way out of here. So he calls in back up and all these flying demon guys or whatever you would call them fly in. Maul unfortunately got captured by one of them. I hope there wasn't a way to talk our way out of this and that I could have avoided this. But because it seems like I'm gonna have to rescue Maul now. Hopefully she can be rescued, because I'm pretty invested in her and all the other Teflon kids, because I really helped them out at the Emerald Grove, and then they stuck up for me. Well, Maul really stuck up for me when we first got here, and she seems like a pretty useful ally. And I think one day eventually she's going to become like a master thief or fence or something in Baldur's Gate if she can survive that long. And I felt really bad seeing her get captured there. So we fought our way out past all these demons, took out the first fist guy, and then took out all the flying. What are these called? Winged horrors, I think they're just called. Um, that they've shown up all over the inn. We have a lot of allies, so it isn't too bad that you have to fight all these guys. But it could be a tricky fight if you were being over reliant on these allies and not watching what you're doing. But we got through it pretty easily. Nothing too bad happened to us. And then we just went around robbing everybody, and then we talked to Jihara again. I was really shocked that there's some sort of spy or something that you made this happen, and that they've been betrayed by someone. And the first fist guy, he seemed like he betrayed them. Like he was here with the other first fists or whatever. And then at some point his mind has been warped by this Kinnerick guy at the Moonrise Towers. So we sort of promised that we're going to go there and infiltrate the Moonrise Towers, and that we're going to get Kinnerick or whatever, and we're going to get rid of him. And I think I think Isabel might already, if I'm even saying her name right, I can't remember if that's her correct name. A lot of the names, they've got odd spellings or different pronunciations for them. But yeah, I robbed the first fist guy, stole all his armor and stuff, and I took out, went around all the horrors and got them too. Then I went to speak to the Teflon kids. Of course, they're really worried about Maul. They're planning to rush in and just go rescue her immediately. Although Mattis or Mattias or however you pronounce his name, they're just like Maul would be really angry if we put ourselves in danger to try to save her, and we should respect what she would want. And I just told them that I would go rescue her, so they should just stay here or whatever. And they seem to agree to that plan, and I'm hoping they listen to it because I don't want them getting captured as well. I went around and talked to everybody else, all the other tieflings around here, and just make sure that they were doing okay. And they're of course really upset that they were attacked on the road through here, and now they've been attacked again, and they've lost Maul. But I just went to talk to Jihara again, and I made sure that the plan of sneaking into Moonrise and destroying the weapon, and also rescuing all the captured Teflings, that we've got a plan for it or whatever. So came outside, came over to the bridge. This group of guys, they look like they're planning to lead us out into the Shadowlands and help us get to the next sort of area from the Last Light Inn. I sort of declined their help for the moment because it seemed like you might get locked into this journey with these guys and not be able to deviate from it. So I was just like, okay, I'll just save and leave you guys here for the moment, and I'll go back to camp and just rest up. And then on the next play session, we'll go properly into the Shadowlands and see what's going on out there, and try to get the Moonrise Tower. I'm really invested in getting there pretty quickly and rescuing Maul and the other tieflings. Like, I really hope that Tiefling, the one I made a bet with, that I would get her to Baldur's Gate and we'd have a drink together. I think her name was Lacrissa or Larissa or something like that. She doesn't seem to be at the inn, so I think she's one of the ones that got captured. And I think Zevran or Zarin or whatever the main Tiefling leader guy, whatever his name was, I think he was captured too. So we really need to go rescue him. So when we came back to Camp Missoura or whatever, she showed up to talk to Will again. She was basically like, "I hear you're going to Moonrise Tower soon, and I need you to get in there and rescue this devil that's been captured. He's an asset to me and Zariel or whatever, and we really want him back." So we made a deal with her that we would do that, but only if she takes Will out of the previous deal he had and just erase that deal and let him be free. We convinced her using our bard tactics of reciting an old children's rhyme about getting out of a deal with the devil. And Missouri or whatever, she kind of just laughed at that, but she did agree that she would do it. I don't really trust her. It's probably going to lead to a big boss fight where we have to attack her and defeat her, so she lets Willow go. Aztarian also wanted to talk to us in the camp. He's got a plan of taking over the cultists for ourselves and just being in control of the power sites. It seems like a bad idea, but I did want to shut him down because recently he's been disapproving of a lot of the good-natured moves that I've been doing and helping people. He often disapproves of stuff like that. So I kind of want to agree to some of his ideas when we're just in camp, even if I don't plan to follow them through, just to keep him on side. Because as Tyrion, I think I've got the lowest approval rating with currently. Will also wanted to talk to us. He was wondering why we were risking ourselves to help him or whatever, and yeah, I just cleared up some stuff like that with him. And Karlach, she really wasn't happy that we were gonna help Missoria or whatever her name is, because doing deals with devils, it just always goes terrible. And I think she really had terrible experiences in the Hells fighting for Zariel or whatever, who's a devil, I think. And yeah, Karlach just doesn't want to side with anything to do with devils. So we went to sleep, and then we had a dream that night again of our guardian. They were talking about how they're under constant psychic attack in here now, and that their enemies are like trying to break in worse than usual. Um, and that they're not sure how much longer they can keep this up. So they're just trying to talk to us and get closer to us and stuff. And I'm really intrigued where all this guardian stuff is going. Because it is kind of unique that we had to create our own guardian. And it seems like they're gonna be a big part of the story eventually. But anyway, once that was over, we went back to camp. Um, I don't know if anyone wanted to speak to me today. I just went over to see the owl bear, because it's always good to just check in on the owl bear, just give him a wee pet. I don't know if he's going to be useful later on, like if he grows into a full-sized owl bear. Maybe we can set him on enemies, that would be pretty useful. But we'll have to see how it goes. So yeah, travel back to the inn, and actually Shadowheart had another exclamation mark over her head, and she had some more dialogue to give to us about her childhood and how she became a worshipper of Lady Shar or whatever. She sort of just gives us this flashback. I think this is because I gave her that night orchid flower, and she's just trying to get to know us a bit better after we did that. So yeah, we get a quick flashback of her childhood, and we saw that she was like being attacked by wolves or by a wolf, and that these Shar worshippers, I'm gonna guess they sort of roll up and protected her from the wolf. And then they took her away, and it seemed like they were definitely Lady Shar worshippers, and that this is how Shadowheart became scared of wolves, because we got that dialogue back at the Githyanki crash where she didn't want to have to fight any wolves anymore. And this kind of shows where that fear came from. So these Lady Shar worshippers showed up, rescued her, and that's how she became the way she is. Um, but also, our character, we noticed that she was holding a moon symbol, which is a symbol of a Cellulite or something like that. You're like the enemies of Shar, or like they're like the opposite of the Shar religion. So it's going to be quite interesting uncovering more about that later. But yeah, I think I'm going to leave it here for today. And next time we'll explore the Shadowlands, as I'm calling it, a bit further and see if we can make it to Moonrise Tower. So, alright, people, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time with more Baldur's Gate 3.